The initial four aircraft using the Luftwaffe's 1933 fighter aircraft contract, which was eventually won by the Messerschmitt Bf-109. The Heinkel 112 finished second by the aforementioned 109. Sadly, about 100 of these planes were built, as most of them for the export market. I don't think actually any of these planes survived. I could be wrong if I have left it in the comments. The design of the HE112 can be traced back without the Spanish Civil War, where the Heinkel 51 fighters proved to be ineffective due to lack of speed, which turned out to be of higher importance than maneuverability. The Luftwaffe took this lesson on board and started design for a much more modern vehicle. Both projects for such weapons had already started under the guise of sports planes for racing purposes, due to the embargo on Germany still from the prior World War. It required an all-metal construction, which had to be a monoplane, have retractable landing gear, have a speed up to or greater than 250 miles per hour, at an altitude of 20,000 feet, be able to endure 90 minutes of full throttle at 20,000 feet, be able to reach that altitude in under 7 minutes, have a service ceiling of 33,000 feet, be fitted with the Yonkers 210 12-cylinder engine, be armed with a minimum of 2 7.92mm machine guns or 1 20mm cannon. In February of 1934, Arado, Bayerische Flugwerks and Heinkel were awarded the contract for the prototypes. 6 months later, a fourth company entered the competition in the guise of Fokker-Wulf. Although the Fokker-Wulf 159 and Arado 80 were both very disappointing and lackluster entrants to the competition, the Bf-109 and the plane we are talking about today, the HE112, excelled. The Heinkel plane was designed by twin brothers Walter and Siegfried Gunther. The brothers were working on a courier plane prior to this, the Project 1015. It was designed around the BMW 117 radial engine. However, the RLM's new requested that they switch the plane over to this project instead, and they renamed it the Heinkel 112. The main source of inspiration for the new plane was actually Heinkel's prior plane, the HE112 Blitz, an extremely fast mail delivery plane, and also capable of delivering passengers as well, up to 4 passengers at a time. One major part of this design, and one major similarity, were the gull wings. These were inverted gull wings, a rather ingenious design. You see, the inverted gull wing allowed for the landing gear to sit lower and give the plane a much greater ground clearance, while still having short landing gear, mainly allowing for longer propeller blades as well to help with cause power. It also allowed for a larger on-load to be carried, in the case of the Yonkers Ju-77. It also has a large benefit to the aircraft in the shape of the wing, as it creates a little bit less drag, which of course aids in speed and fuel saving. The HE112 also featured an open cockpit, with the fuselage spine just behind the headrest. This had many benefits over an enclosed cockpit. First of all, it allowed for much better stability, both for taxiing and in flight. Another mark for the plane was due to the cockpit's layout. It made the biplane trained pilots feel much more at home, due to the fact that nearly none of them had experienced a closed cockpit before. The first prototype, the V1, was completed on the 1st of September 1935. However, due to the lack of the Renault 210 engines, the plane instead had to use a 695 horsepower Rolls-Royce Kestrel engine, an engine which was comparable to the Junkers and had to use in the rival's Bf-1092. The V1 had larger wings than their contemporaries. This larger surface wing area meant it had much lower wing loading. This meant the plane had fantastic turn rate, but due to the drag it had, it was very sluggish in a roll. The wing problem was found out, and a much thinner elliptical wing was created. However, come time for the competition, the open cockpit caused drag, which slowed the plane down and made it 17 miles per hour slower than the BF-109, Arado, and even Copperwood. A contract was awarded to the BF-109, and the HE112 was given a contract for more testing. Initially it looked good for the HE112. It was the favoured plane over the unknown BF-109. However, one of the V2 BF-109s came with its limo engine and considerably outperformed the HE112 in almost every area. The RLM still favoured Heinkel's offer, however, and despite the 109 seeming a better plane, they ordered 10 production sealed aircraft from both companies for more testing. In the end, the easier to produce plane, the BF-109 was chosen. Ernst Uder himself delivered the news to Heinkel that BF-109 had entered serious production in 1936, and he's quoted as saying, pawn your crate off on the Turks or the Japanese or the Romanians, they'll lap it up. The foreign market, which were in dire need of upgrading their current biplanes and outdated models, looks very promising for Heinkel, with a number of nations looking to the plane and ordering prototypes. Being how the RLM had ordered 10 aircraft, this meant Heinkel could make more prototypes under a little less stress. Many were created from the V5 or HE112R, which proved the concept of a rocket-powered fighter, to the V9, which could achieve a maximum speed of 300 miles per hour. 10 more than the current BF-109B series, although some claim Heinkel inflated the numbers, as few pilots ever managed this speed. The V9 spent most of its life as a test plane, and being flown by pilots spanning the world. It was also the plane chosen to show off at air shows and tours all across Europe. This proved to be a great success as a number of nations ordered their planes. Most notably was the Imperial Japanese Navy, who were in dire need of a quick climbing interceptor due to their issues with the Russian Tupolev SB bombers over China. 24 were ordered, with the option of another 48 in the future. In 1938, 12 were shipped to Japan. The Austrians, who also liked the plane, choosing it over the BF-1, liking the handling and options for payloads more over the smaller BF-109. 42 HE112Bs were ordered, but due to licensing issues of the MG-FF 20mm cannon, this could not be included, so bomb shackles were placed onto the aircraft instead, carrying up to 6 10kg anti-burst L-bombs. However, the order was never completed due to the annexation of Austria in 1938. Spain were very impressed with the plane as well, and bought 12 instantly, ordering another 6. This was due to their performance in the Spanish Civil War. As you can see here, we actually have the Condor Legion's colouring on this plane. Yugoslavia were next to order 30 of the aircraft. However, they later cancelled the order. Both the Finnish and Dutch were next to look at ordering the plane. However, cost became an issue. Despite the Finnish pilots being extremely happy with the plane, the Dutch decided for the Coldhaven FK-58 instead. However, none of those were delivered due to the factory being bombed early in 1940. Hungary were next and wished to purchase the license to build the plane themselves. 36 were ordered. However, due to political unrest, only 3 aircraft were delivered. Romania were the most successful as a customer, who purchased 24 HE112Bs, with all 24 being delivered in 1939. However, by this stage in history, war had fully broken out, and there were now better models on the market, including Eagle's own HE100. No other nation were interested in the 1112, and with the war being waged across the world, delivery was much harder. The 112's production line was finally closed, with only 98 aircraft being made in the end. As I said, a couple of extra airframes were made to make it until that 100 mark. Although the plane has slipped into the unknown now, it was an interesting little footnote in history. A what-if plane. If it developed, could it have been the Uber fighter Germany desperately wanted? No, I honestly don't think so. But it did have some very interesting developments, and it did have potential. And we've had having more room to grow over the BF-109, which struggled to modernise itself at times. However, there is no doubt that the BF-109 was the better plane. But to me, the HE112 is a more interesting one. So in-game, what do we have? Well, we have the HE112 V5, which is a 1.3 BR. It has two 7.29mm machine guns. The HE112AO 1.7, which has a single 20mm cannon, which is what you see here. The HE112BO, which is an enclosed cockpit variant, it's a later version of the plane, which has two 7.9mm machine guns and two 20mm machine guns. The HE112B1/U12, which is a Hungarian premium plane at 2.3 VR. It has two 7.292 and two 20mm cannons. There's also the A7HE1, a Japanese premium at 2.0 VR, with two 7.92 and two 20mm cannons. Now this plane is a Japanese built version, I believe, but it is basically the same as the 112. The 112 series shares a great... the 112 series has a great low-altitude turning ability. The inverted Golden aids with this, and you can give early Spitfires a run for their money. Even some of the biplanes, you'll actually be able to get some better turns on. However, the plane does not perform well at high altitudes. At 3 kilometers plus, the plane does lack overall speed, so do not try outrunning or chasing down with the enemy. When you fight biplanes, try to dive on them. Don't go for a turn battle with those, but when you're fighting a monoplane, try for a turn battle. The V5 lacks punch with this 7.92mm machine gun. They can damage some planes, but it does take a few passes. You also lack any protection, so take care of the pilot. There is a high chance of being pilot sniped. With the 112AO, this version, the 20mm cannon is good, but you do lack ammunition. Once you get the VO, however, it has good firepower ability, it has good agility and speed, and is very capable of playing. It is also a very good plane to step up from arcade to realistic battle, even in simulator mode as well. The guns are rather good with their velocity, so it is easy to aim with, and for sim, it has very good visibility. With the bubble canopy, including with this plane, the open canopy, the visibility around the plane is extremely good. Now right here we have a Focke-Wulf 200 just going to land, and sort of just has to to jump out the plane, and he's decided not to, so we'll just screw up a little bit here, just going to be up here for a bit of time. And I'm watching him on the airfield, and he decides he's going to take off again rather than jump out of the plane, so wasting the engine again, basically. So we go in for the dive to take him out. Now this is very dangerous in this plane because you do lack that armour protection from the pilot. The engine does offer some protection, the Skreezilla 110 does offer a little bit of protection, of course, but you are likely to die. As you can see, he started taking off again now, instead of just jaying out, which is a real shame because it's just like he could have avoided having to pay for repairs for his aircraft. Now, the hard bit here is actually trying to kill him, because of course we do lack that real big firepower, but luckily we get a nice hit into his fuel tank, catches on fire, and that's the end of his game. So, we'll just head back to the hangar and have a look at the planes in the hangar for you. And we are back. So, this is the first variant, the V5, which is, it's a bit of a shame we don't get some of the earlier models, or some of the more interesting models. It would be amazing to see the HE112 V5R model. Now, the V5 is actually the model they tested the rockets on. They basically tested it with twin rocket motors on the wings. I will throw up a picture now. It's a very interesting concept, but unfortunately we don't have that in-game, so we just have to do with this one. The V5 is a really good plane. It's an all-metal construction. It's a very sturdy plane. As you can see, the elliptical wing design is very similar to that of the Spitfire. If we actually go to Britain and look at the Spitfire, you can see the wings are very similar in their design. Now, the big difference, of course, is the fact it's an inverted gull wing, and this is something that really helps out with drag coefficient. Because of the way the gull wing works, it just creates less drag on the aircraft. It sometimes stalls a little bit of air, so when you stall a little bit of air here, it basically makes the air go a bit further over, so it doesn't sort of create as much drag behind the plane. Now, this is a really good thing for flight performance, for fuel saving, for speed, things like that. But for roll rate, it's not very good, and this is one of the things the plane struggles with, is the roll. And also, when you're climbing, if you want to sort of stall climb and then come back down, you do have problems with this aircraft in that respect. Now, one of the big things, as I said, is the fact that you don't have very good guns. The 7.92mm guns are very weak. Now, the one good thing though is they are closed in the actual plane itself. If we look at the actual gun layout, they're here and here, so very close to the pilot, but also very close to the centre of the plane, so they're going to have a very good fire arc, and they're going to be, the divergence of the air, divergence of the actual bullets are going to be pretty straight, so you'll be able to shoot people from quite a good distance. The velocity is very good on them as well, and they do some really good damage. Modification wise is very boring. There's no extra bits and bobs, you just get the bullets. Of course, it's always good to go from the default round, which has the omni-purpose bullet in there, which is not very useful. Generally I use universal or the stealth belt, just because the adjusted incendiary bullets are very useful. With the universal belt, of course, you have armor piercing that as well, which are quite handy, because if you're behind somebody, you've got that chance of going through the back of their seat if they do have some protection on there. Next up, we have the 112AO, which is the first production model, and as you can see, it has this beautiful Spanish Civil War pattern on it from the Condor Legion, which is just very cool. It's just a very unique camouflage. I do like the fact that they are sort of very, there's no paint across most of the plane. You can see the durabilium, the aluminium sort of coating of the plane, the metal skin of it as well. Now again, there's not much change from this and the V5 in all honesty in the shape of the plane, but the big change comes with the fact it has a 20mm cannon in the nose here. Now they used a technique of going through the actual engine bay, so the good thing about the V12 engine is the cylinders the cylinders are just down here at the wait, that's a straight V12. Yeah, it's a V12, sorry. So the cylinders are down here, and you have a little space in this section where the just between the cranks. So what they do is they actually have a hollow shaft going through to the actual propeller blade, and then inside that shaft they put them at the cannon. Now, how that cannon being central means that you've got very easy aim. You also have a three-bladed propeller. Now, this three-bladed propeller does have pitch variable. It's pitch variable, so you can change the pitch of the propeller blades, things like that, which is quite handy. That's more for sim flights and stuff like that, and it's very complicated, but basically it means that you are a bit faster. It just creates a bit more pull for the plane. As I was saying, with the gull wing action as well, is you can have smaller landing gear, and the big benefit of that is a smaller, sturdier landing gear is less likely to break. When you've got long landing gear wheels, if we look for the probably not useful looking at tanks or helicopters, if we look at the Doe 335, you can see this very long landing gear here, and these had a problem because they were a bit prone to breaking sometimes. They're sort of, because they're so long, it's easier for them to snap, although they do have quite a long dampener on them, but they had a bit more chance to break on landing, especially in earlier planes. So the HE112AO is actually a really good plane to fly in, but you do have very limited ammunition, only 100 shots through your cannon, so you have to be very careful and very considerate on your trigger finger. Now the V5 I don't think has any. Oh, it does, yeah, it's got the Imperial Japanese camouflage for it, which is a really cool little feature. So that loads in. So one of the cool things is you can put the Imperial Japanese camouflage on your German planes, because of course these were exported to Japan. So a really pretty camouflage there of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Very clean looking plane. Now the AO does not get that camouflage. Sorry, I had to double check that one. So it just has the Spanish Civil War camouflage, which is a shame because there were a couple of different variants on the patterns, but it is cool to have a plane with the Spanish Civil War era camouflage in it. Something from the Condor Legion. Next up we have the BO, which is the second generation production model, and as you can see with this one, if we look from the top of this plane to the top of this plane, it's much smaller. Now the wings are cut a little bit narrower, so this really helps with the roll rate, and it also helps with turn time. This plane is very manoeuvrable. They only have the twin prop propeller, but that's all it needs. It's got very good speed, it's got very good durability, it's got very good turn time. Again, you don't have any protection for your pilot, but the Yamaha 210 engine does offer a little bit of protection. Also things like the radiators also do absorb a bullet from a head-on attack. Don't go on head-on with this thing though. The cannons are on the outer wings, of course, and again they do have relatively low ammunition, so 60 rounds each, but again with this plane you can really manoeuvre it. If you get in a turn fight with anyone, you're probably going to win the battle, but don't try boom and zoom tactics in it. It doesn't work very well. That's generally the best way to fight this plane as well, is to boom and zoom it. Now if we look at the premiums, we have the 112B1U2, which is a slightly later production model in the Hungarian camouflage. Through my research I couldn't really find much details on this. There was actually a Hungarian home-built aircraft, I believe it was Hungarian, and they actually, instead of having a metal fuselage, they actually made it up of mainly wood. So there was basically a wooden version of this plane. The home-built one, I think it was either Hungary or Yugoslavia, one of the two, or maybe it was the Czech Republic. One of those three basically built the HE112, but made it a wooden variant of the plane. But they used a Gnome Romeo engine in it, which had much more power than the Umo. So it had comparable performance, even though it was much heavier and not as good, which is quite funny. But this plane comes with the beautiful Hungarian camouflage. For 2.3, it's still a very good plane, good speed, good manoeuvrability, again no armour, but very good cannons on board as well, same machine gun layout, and generally it's a very good plane. If you are looking for a very low tier plane to buy, this is well worth it. I would recommend this plane. And last but not least, we have to go over to Japan for the A7HE1. And as you can see, pretty much the same plane as the AO1. Same guns on it, everything else is the same. The smaller cut wings on it, the elliptical wings, the slightly shallower tail, but this is 2.0. I don't really get the BR scaling for these planes because it makes me scratch my head. Again, a very good premium to pick up. A beautiful plane as well, especially with the Imperial Japanese Navy camouflage on board. It looks very pretty indeed. So well worth looking at that one. So, let's just head back to Germany and click off that. Click off that as well. That is the end of this History of video. I would like to thank everybody for watching to the end. We do have a Discord now, so if you would like to join the Discord, the link is below. please feel free to come over. We'll chat about mainly War Thunder and history and sometimes food and TV shows and all that usual stuff. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Community Tech Tree Project as well. Community Tech Tree Project is a fantastic organisation and fantastic idea. It's run on Discord, and you will find the link below as well in this video. They're a fantastic group of people, and what they're basically doing is making a tech tree of different nations and just putting in ideas of what could be added, what can't be added, things that would work in game, tanks that would work in different nations, tech trees for different nations. You've got things like Switzerland, Sweden, Yugoslavia, the Commonwealth tech tree, things like that, and just ideas of what you could actually add for those tech trees if Gaijin decided to do so. So kind of a cool idea, very cool little server, so give them a little bit of a look at as well. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.